In the dim glow of dawn aboard the USS Horizon, Lieutenant Sophia Reyes stood at the railing, her emerald eyes fixed on the endless expanse of the Pacific Ocean. The year was 2025, and the world teetered on the brink of conflict, with tensions rising between superpowers over disputed islands. Sophia, with her raven hair tied back in a practical ponytail and her uniform crisp against her athletic frame, had always been drawn to the sea. Born in a small coastal town in California, she joined the U.S. Navy at 22, seeking adventure and purpose. Her name, Sophia, meaning wisdom, suited her perfectly. She was known among her crew for her sharp mind and unyielding compassion. Beside her was her closest comrade, Ensign Liam Hartley, a tall, broad-shouldered man with kind blue eyes and a smile that could light up the darkest storm. Liam, whose name evoked strength and grace, had grown up in the heartland of America, dreaming of protecting his country. They had met during basic training, forging a bond that went beyond duty, a friendship laced with unspoken affection. "Another day at sea, Soph," Liam said softly, his voice carrying over the gentle hum of the ship's engines. "You think we'll see action today?" Sophia sighed, her hand gripping the cold metal. "I hope not, Liam, but if we do, we'll face it together." The Horizon was part of a carrier strike group, patrolling the South China Sea, a hotspot where naval exercises often turned into real threats. Rumors of enemy submarines lurking beneath the waves had the crew on edge. Sophia commanded a team manning the heavy machine guns, massive 50-caliber beasts mounted on the deck, capable of unleashing a storm of lead. As the sun climbed higher, alarms blared across the ship. "General quarters. Enemy vessels sighted." The captain's voice echoed through the intercom. Sophia's heart raced as she dashed to her station. Liam followed, his face set in determination. The horizon revealed a fleet of hostile ships, their flags fluttering defiantly. Intelligence had warned of this, a surprise incursion by adversarial forces, aiming to claim the waters. Sophia's team scrambled into position. The heavy machine gun, a relic of raw power with its long barrel and ammunition belts, gleamed under the morning light. "Lock and load," she ordered, her voice steady despite the adrenaline surging through her veins. Liam took his place as her spotter, binoculars pressed to his eyes. "Targets at 2 o'clock, closing fast," he reported, the air filled with the roar of engines and the distant thunder of artillery. In that moment, Sophia thought of her family back home, her younger sister, Isabella, who idolized her, and her parents, who prayed for her safe return every night. The sea, once a symbol of freedom, now felt like a battlefield where lives hung in the balance. As the first enemy boat sped toward them, Sophia's finger hovered over the trigger. This was no drill. This was the precipice of war. The deck vibrated beneath their feet as the USS Horizon surged forward, cutting through the waves like a predator. Sophia's heavy machine gun station was alive with urgency. Crewmates, feeding ammo belts, adjusting sights, and shouting coordinates. The enemy vessels, sleek and aggressive, fired warning shots that exploded in plumes of water nearby. "Incoming," Liam yelled, pulling Sophia down just as a shell whistled overhead. "Fire at will," came the command from the bridge. Sophia squeezed the trigger and the machine gun erupted in a deafening staccato. Boom, boom, boom. The recoil jarred her shoulders, but she held firm. Bullets traced fiery arcs across the sky, ripping into the lead enemy boat. Splinters flew as the hull shattered, forcing the vessel to veer off course. "Direct hit!" Liam cheered, his voice barely audible over the chaos. But the battle intensified. More boats swarmed, their own guns blazing. Tracers lit the air like deadly fireworks, and the Horizon's anti-aircraft systems kicked in, filling the sky with flak. Sophia's world narrowed to the gun's sights. The rhythmic thud of her weapon, the acrid smell of gunpowder, the sweat stinging her eyes. Liam stayed by her side, reloading with swift precision. "We've got this, Soph," he said, his hand brushing hers in a fleeting moment of reassurance. Amid the fury, memories flooded Sophia's mind. She recalled her first deployment, the loneliness of nights at sea, and how Liam had shared stories of his childhood farm, painting pictures of golden fields and starry skies. He dreamed of a life after the Navy, perhaps a quiet home by the lake, with someone special. Sophia had always wondered if that someone could be her, but duty had kept those words unspoken. A sudden explosion rocked the ship. An enemy torpedo had grazed the hull, sending shrapnel flying. Pain seared through Sophia's arm as a fragment sliced her skin, but she ignored it, firing relentlessly. "Liam, cover the port side," she commanded. He nodded, grabbing a nearby rifle. But in the split second he turned. A hail of bullets from an approaching drone struck him. He crumpled to the deck, blood blooming on his uniform. "No," Sophia screamed, her voice raw with anguish. She abandoned her post momentarily, kneeling beside him. Liam's eyes met hers, filled with pain but also peace. "Soph, keep fighting. For us," he whispered, his hand weak in hers. Tears blurred her vision as medics rushed in, but the battle raged on. With a heart heavy as lead, Sophia returned to the gun, channeling her grief into every burst of fire. The enemy fleet began to retreat, their numbers thinned by the horizon's unyielding defense. As the smoke cleared, Sophia stood amid the wreckage, her body aching, her soul shattered. The sea, now stained with oil and debris, whispered of the cost of valor. Liam was rushed to the med bay, his fate uncertain, leaving Sophia to grapple with the void his absence created. Hours blurred into eternity as the USS Horizon limped back to base, the battle's echoes reverberating in every creak of the ship. Sophia sat by Liam's bedside in the cramped med bay, her bandaged arm throbbing in rhythm with her heartbeat. The doctors had worked miracles, removing shrapnel, stabilizing his vitals, but Liam remained unconscious, his chest rising and falling in shallow breaths. "He's a fighter," the surgeon had said. But Sophia knew the real fight was within. In the quiet, she reflected on the day's horrors. The heavy machine gun firing had saved countless lives, turning the tide against overwhelming odds. Reports trickled in. The enemy incursion repelled, international waters secured. Medals would be awarded, stories told of heroism. But for Sophia, the victory tasted bitter. She thought of the families on both sides, the human cost hidden behind headlines. "Why do we do this?" she murmured to the unresponsive Liam. "For freedom? For peace?" As night fell, Liam stirred. His eyes fluttered open, finding hers in the dim light. "Soph," he croaked, a faint smile crossing his lips. Relief washed over her like a cleansing wave. "You made it," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. They talked softly, of dreams deferred, of the fragility of life. In that vulnerable moment, barriers crumbled. "I love you, Liam," Sophia confessed, her voice trembling. "I always have." He squeezed her hand. "And I you. Let's build that life together after this." Their words wove a tapestry of hope amid the scars of war, a reminder that even in destruction, love could endure. Back on deck the next morning, Sophia stood once more at the railing, the ocean now a mirror of calm. The heavy machine gun, silent and scarred, symbolized not just power but the human spirit's resilience. She had fired it with precision, but it was her heart that had truly been tested. The Navy hailed her as a hero, but Sophia knew the real strength came from bonds like hers and Liam's, threads of humanity in a world of conflict. As the Horizon docked, cheers erupted from the shore. Sophia helped Liam ashore, their steps slow but sure. The battle had changed them, forging unbreakable resolve. In the end, the firing of that heavy machine gun was more than an act of war. It was a catalyst for profound transformation, touching souls and echoing through time. For Sophia and Liam, it marked the beginning of a new chapter, one of healing, love, and enduring peace.